something smells, and it smells really bad. Oh, I know what that is. It's the certain team that has to go out and play the certain red and gold team this Sunday morning in the East Coast, and that team happens to always take an internal dump, and they have to wipe their ass, and it turned out to be brown. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, is the Cleveland Browns, or as we like to refer to them on here, the shit marks, the skid marks. You know, the one that you always see on your toilet paper or on your toilet bowl when you wipe your ass or take a huge dump. Yes, that is the skid marks, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, looking at the Cleveland Browns this season so far, sure, they had some success on one side of the ball. But then when you look at the other side of the ball, oh boy, it's a very mixed bag that we will once again may have to look at them and call them the skid marks or the shit marks, whatever you want to call this kind of dumpish and lean towards more of a dumpish kind of a start for the skid marks that you want to grab some toilet paper and wipe your ass with and grab a plunger maybe. I don't know. But either way, in all seriousness, yeah, for my 49ers, they're going to go on the road for the first time in weeks. A little bit of a 2-game road trip up north, and it starts here in week 6 against the Cleveland Browns. Early start time, by the way. First time in a couple of weeks, since a couple of weeks ago. And I think it's one of the last times that they're going to have this early start times. Oh, no, there's another one in a couple of weeks more. But nonetheless, yeah, they're going to have to go out to the East Coast in Cleveland early as the clock and, yeah, try to take care of the Cleveland Browns. So looking back at the last week that was for both of these teams, for my 49ers, well, then the last game of their 3-game homestand, it seemed like it was going to be a test for them against the Dallas Cowboys. But no, they decided that, under the bright lights of Sunday night, everyone's kind of doubting us. Well, we're going to erase some of those doubts and put on a clinic against Dak Prescott and the boys. Make them the doubters. Make them the ones under duress, because, well, Brock Purdy pretty much burned that supposedly top-tier defense of the Dallas Cowboys with ease, pretty much easily. Meanwhile, on the other end, you had Fred Warner and that 49ers defense making Dak Prescott's life a living hell and a total butt-whooping under the bright lights of Sunday Night Football, as the 49ers easily took care of the Cowboys 42-10. For the Browns, they had a couple weeks off. They were on their very early bye week. But the last time they were in action in week 4, they got their own butt whooping of their own at the hands of Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, 28-3. However, in fairness to them, they were lacking starting quarterback Deshaun Watson with a shoulder injury. The whole situation that we're going to get into is kind of a very complicated one the more you get deeper into it, because, yeah, he initially was cleared to play, but then he elected not to play. It's a very complicated situation as we get deeper into that situation. But nonetheless, they got their butts handed to them because, the preseason sensation, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, yeah, preseason success didn't exactly translate to regular season success. So that was that. So going to this game for the 49ers, they're pretty much going to get up against a much tougher defense. And clearly it doesn't seem on paper for the most part. Certainly the Browns, they had mixed results overall as a team, but where they haven't is their defense. Sure, they didn't do so well against the Baltimore Ravens, but they're still a very good defense. In terms of their secondary, you got corners like Denzel Ward, and then their safety Grant Delpit. It's a pretty good defense that can create turnovers, stop big passes from happening on critical downs, and just make things generally hard in the passing game. Meanwhile, that's on top of having a really good pass rush, led by obviously their top edge rusher, Myles Garrett, who now has some help in Zadarius Smith, among others. So Myles Garrett is finally getting that help that Cleveland desperately needed, alongside an actual defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz, who has been wonders for that group so far. So for Brock Purdy and the 49ers, they're definitely going to be tested in this Week 6 matchup. Meanwhile, for the 49ers defense, I mean, it's probably not going to be as much of a challenge, but you never know. Like, even up against like these backup quarterbacks, they can sometimes sleepwalk. They can sometimes sleepwalk into these kind of games, especially in early as the clock start time. But you don't want to sleep. You don't want to like, oh, this is going to be an easy kind of task, kind of game. Just look at the 2021 game against Arizona with Colt McCoy, even though they still technically had their starters in for most of their starters for Arizona. And then, of course, you had the New Year's Day game against the Las Vegas Raiders where they shut down Derek Carr, put in Jarrett Stidham, and he proceeded to play lights out against that 49ers defense. So you cannot take this whole situation that we're going to get into for granted, and just pretty much go in there and take care of your business. It's simple as that for this 49ers team. Now, looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the 49ers, they're coming into this game relatively healthy. And, of course, good health is pretty much what they need at this point, because we've had some terrible luck with that for the last several years. But thank the Lord, we're finally getting that good luck. Keeping our fingers crossed, by the way. We escaped some major serious injury news with guard Aaron Banks, though, which is good. Because coming out of that game, it was initially feared that the team thought he was gonna be out for the season, or suffer even a worse injury with a biceps tear. But Kyle Shanahan said that it was just a mild shoulder sprain, and he was able to practice on a limited basis, and he was cleared to play. So that's the best possible news that we got as Niners fans. So you only had like two questionables going into this game: Dre Greenlaw and Elijah Mitchell. Greenlaw's dealing with a hamstring injury. Elijah Mitchell dealing with, I think it's an ankle, or maybe he's also doing a hamstring injury. But nonetheless, if Dre Greenlaw can't go, well, next man up. For the Browns, obviously they have a lot more injury concerns that they have to be aware of. But the two notable ones that they have, the first one though has to deal with their left guard Joel Bitonio, their All-Pro guard. He's been ruled out of this game with the knee injury, so that's a major hit to their offensive line, leaving them with a big hole against that 49ers deadly front seven of their own. And then, of course, you have the big news with quarterback Deshaun Watson. He's going to be out of this game with the right shoulder injury. So not even the bye week could help the Browns, could not help Deshaun Watson like heal up in time for this game. And like I said, this whole injury situation is strange, considering that he was medically cleared before the Ravens game. They said, oh, he's questionable for this game, but he didn't end up playing in that game, and then the Ravens kicked their ass. So you get this early bye week to get everyone ready for this game. And they also had a couple injuries coming out of that game too, but Watson was the most notable one. But yeah, not even the bye week could help heal him up. So it's very strange what's going on with Deshaun Watson's injury and the specifics of it. So is he going to be ready for the next game against the Colts or in the Seahawks? I don't know. Either way, for a quarterback that the Browns traded a crap ton for, yeah, it's really not looking good for them so far. It is really not looking good for them so far. A lot of mixed results on the field and off the field. So in his place, you get quarterback PJ Walker, XFL, on and off starting quarterback around the league. His last notable instance of being a starter was with someone that on the 49ers staff is familiar with on the Carolina Panthers. Defensive coordinator Steve Wilks is familiar with PJ Walker. He was his starting quarterback at least for most of the season last year, when Steve Wilks was the interim head coach after Matt Rule got fired. So he has some familiarity with PJ Walker in the offense, and of course they also spent some time prior to that when Wilks was the coach and was the defensive coordinator there as well. And then Walker, was on and off starting. So Walker and Wilks have familiarity with each other, and Wilks at least has an advantage trying to game plan against him. So they didn't go with Dorian Thompson-Robinson for this game. They're going with PJ Walker. And then obviously the trade that happened last week with Randy Gregory, the edge rusher from Denver, he's going to be making his debut for the 49ers this Sunday. So much needed depth is a plus for the 49ers. So it's going to be interesting how they rotate him in and out with Nick Bosa and Randy Gregory, and how much of an impact he'll have in this game against Cleveland and their kind of like lowered offensive line. So looking at your keys to victory for both of these teams, for my 49ers, offensively, you got to continue to get George Kittle involved in the passing game. I mean, of course, he had this big 3 touchdowns that put the 49ers up big against Dallas, but now you got to get even more involved. I know it's you try to get everyone involved each and every week. I mean, and it's kind of hard, but yeah, you just got to try to keep getting him involved, and also keep reinforcing that Brandon Ayuk is in the passing game as well. Because, Brock Purdy tries to make him the go-to guy at times, but, it's all a matter of spreading the wealth on that team. And then defensively, don't let PJ Walker dump the ball out quick. That pass rush must pressure him up like very fast. It's pretty much that simple. For the Browns, if you want to have a chance in this game, your defense really has to do all the heavy lifting. This is probably, like I said, this is probably like their only chance that gives them hope. Despite getting handed by Baltimore 2 weeks ago, they're still tough go with that defensive front and a secondary that can create some chances in the form of breakups and maybe even some turnovers, especially if that pass rush can really get going against that 49ers offensive line that will definitely be tested against a pass rush with Myles Garrett and Za'Darius Smith. And then on offense, just keep things simple with PJ Walker. I know Walker has had some experience already as a starting quarterback in spot starts, but there are some weaknesses in his game. So for this offense to try and have some success, just run the ball frequently with Kareem Hunt. You don't have Nick Chubb anymore because of the awful injury that he had in week 2. So you got to run the ball frequently with Kareem Hunt. Have your receivers do the work after the catch. Check it down. Run some screen passes. So maybe even try to test the defense with on occasional deep downfield throws. But don't do it too often because PJ Walker's not that reliable of a deep downfield thrower. So as long as if the Browns can do that, they can try to make things interesting. But with the lack of Watson and a few key players out there, it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough for them. But at the same time, for my 49ers, they cannot look at this game and it's like, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. It's definitely going to be a cakewalk, especially considering who they're going to face like the game after, which they also might think of this, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. No, they got to treat this game as if it's going to be any other normal game because anything can happen in the NFL. So, no need to sleepwalk. No need to take a dump, like a bad dump, and then wipe your ass and says, like, oh, why is this a different color? And all that. So, for the 49ers, just take care of your business, man. And don't let the Browns defense rattle your ass. And just if you keep doing what you're doing, or if something doesn't work, go to the next man. And I think the 49ers will pull away from this game. Maybe not as dominant as it was against the Dallas Cowboys a week ago, but I think the 49ers will pull away from the Browns because of the talent of the gap that is between those teams. So, let me know your thoughts on this game this coming Sunday between the 49ers and the Browns in the comments below. And I think they will get it done, in spite of being in that stinky place that's filled with all the shit marks over there. But anyway, that is it for me on Very Cold Lasagna. And keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And until next time, peace out.